If you're into building guitars, you've been following this build or the Great Guitar Build-Off, stay with me. I'm going to be building the neck for this original designed guitar. As usual, I'll go step by step and show various methods of building with relatively simple tools. I'm doing this as part of the Great Guitar Build-Off and continuing from part 1 where I tested my design and my kick-ass rasp grinder. So join me, let's build a guitar. Hi, I'm Yoav and this is the Electric Luthier. At the end of the last part, I ended up with a prototype for the body shape which I will get started on as soon as I make a few updates. Today, I'm going to get started on the neck. I'm very happy with the body design and materials I have. I am, however, going to put aside my so-called kit neck in favor of building from scratch one that will better match the colors and theme of my body. I have a nice two-piece dark mahogany that I've glued together a while back and will be topping it with a wide strip of 6.5mm fretboard I've cut from the same Iroko butcher block. I'll be taping it with super glue and masking tape to my 25.5-inch scale fretting template, which works with the fretting jig I've built. Since the strip I cut is a little wider than the template and the jig, I'll also just run a trimmer with a flush bit to get it to the same width. This way it will sit snugly in the jig and I may not even need to clamp it every fret. If you're not familiar with this type of jig, you're welcome to see how I built it in the link up here. The principle is very simple. The white laminated MDF template has slots and it's facing the bottom of the jig. On the bottom of the jig, right under the saw slot, there is a thin piece of metal sticking up from the surface to fit those slots. These mark the position for the fretboard, which is attached to the template but faces up. I measure and mark the desired depth on the saw itself so I can eyeball it. After the first slot is in place, I cut from above to the desired depth and then pick up the template and slide it along to the next slot. This gives me the next position for cutting. Then it's just repeating the process 24 times. I haven't radiused it yet, so my cut is a little deeper than the actual depth I need. I'm planning to replace the top pieces of this jig with plexiglass, so we will be able to see the actual cutting better and also not skip any slot accidentally either. You may be able to spot a slice which was chipped by the trimmer. This area will be cut off anyway, but this gives me an indication that my timber may have variations in the grain, and some places have long grain and I should be more careful when routing the body. But we'll get to that when we get to the body. After the 24 frets are slotted, I will keep the fretboard on the template just because it's sturdy and easy to work with. And now I can think about the front dots, size and positioning. I want to give it a bit of a natural flow and curved lines and also play with the sizes of the holes. I've decided on these curves which will meet at the two dots at the 12th fret and will also be largest at the 12th fret. They'll be something like 9mm, which is about 0.35 inches at their largest, and get small till 4mm, which is about 0.15 inches. I wasn't sure how I want to fill those dots, and I did a few tests with super glue, epoxy, some black glitter, black nail polish, and even fruity stickers. I wasn't too impressed with neither of them, and decided to go on the natural wood look and use rosewood. After all, rosewood is very commonly used for fretboards. I'll be mixing the rosewood dust collected from a sanding of rosewood fretboards, and after mixing it with some carpenter's glue, I'll pour it into the drilled holes, play around with it so it'll reach all the little crevices, and leave it to dry. If you like where this is going, please give me a like and subscribe down below. If you also hit the bell, you will be notified when my next video comes out. And do check out my website, theelectricluthier.com. Lots of good info there. You should also check out greatguitarbuildoff.com. The challengers have already handed in their projects, and the voting and donating is on. While all that's going on, it's time for the neck. I'm going to start with properly marking the center line on the blank. This will give us a good reference for both routing the truss rod channel and later attaching the template for giving the neck its contour. I start by marking the position of the truss rod and the head of the truss rod, which is wider and thicker than the rest. I'll use a parallel jig that comes with any trimmer, and even though I'm routing mahogany, I'll use this little one. I'm using a 1/4 inch straight carbide bit, which matches the truss rod width, and I'll be routing a depth of 8 millimeters in 3 passes, and going fairly slowly so to not burn the little trimmer, the $3 blade, or the priceless neck. For the head of the neck, I will be going a little deeper and wider with my rounded tip bit. I'm going to extend it a bit into the headstock area for comfortable adjustments. Now personally, I don't mind the hole there, but I will try to keep it nice, clean, and in the spirit of the design. We have a perfect channel for the truss rod. It's flush, or even hair under the surface of the neck, and the adjustment area sits well and will leave plenty of room for adjustment without having to drill from the top as many Fender style necks do. Will it need a cover later? Maybe, we'll see. Now I mark the outline of the neck and get it ready for rough cutting. Again, a bandsaw would be great here and will also give you a cleaner cut, enabling getting closer to the line and leaving less material and chip-free cutting for the router. If you're using a bandsaw, you can do this before cutting as well, but at this point I again put masking tape on the top side of the neck and the bottom of the template. I then apply super glue on the masking tape, align the two, and press for a bit. If you have accelerant spray, the drying will be almost immediate, so be careful. By the time I get my router ready, it will be fine anyway. At this point, I want to switch to a larger and preferably table-mounted router. In order to make it table-mounted, you need to switch the standard base it comes with a wider one, which you can buy, like this one, or make yourself, like I did. This base just needs a matching hole with support for it to sit flush with the tabletop. It's usually a matter of 4 screws. This simple medium-sized 30-something years old router is perfect for that. And if I get a newer plunge router, it will probably stay just table mounted. A table router gives me much better stability for these kind of routes. I'll be using 2 types of bits here, mostly for demonstration purposes, as I can complete the job with either type by itself. I'll be using this short flush trim bit to begin with. This one has a double ball bearing close to the shaft, and I'll use it to route half the height. I could just raise it right on the first half and do the second half, but I'll finish it with a longer flush bit that has a bearing on top, far from the shaft. Notice that for this one I have to flip the neck and have the template on top. Again, if I didn't want to do this in 2 passes, and with mahogany I probably could have, I could have just continued with this bit and be done with. Now both of these bits cost me under $10 each, and with proper care and handling can give excellent results. There are higher grade, fluted, multi-blade and fancy bits which can cost up to $200 and are well worth it if you're using them extensively or just are willing to spend that much. Their advantages will include durability, cleaner cuts, less chipping, and so on and so forth. We now have a neck that is contoured and ready from top view, and a fretboard that is slotted and dotted. In the next part, I'll radius the fretboard, glue it to the neck, and start shaping the neck to its final shape. After that, there will be threading, crowning, and dressing to get the neck to its full potential. So join me on the next part of this great guitar unofficial build-off build. I will be linking all the tools and accessories I'm using, or equivalent ones, in the description below for your convenience. These are affiliate links, so if you do end up buying through my links, I'll be getting a small commission at no extra cost for you. And this will be much appreciated, as well as motivate me to keep doing these videos. In the meanwhile, if you want more information and articles on guitar building, please subscribe below and don't forget the little bell to get notified when more of my videos come out. And definitely check out theelectricluthier.com, but don't just read it, go build a guitar.